Right now, at this exact moment, the world's best tennis players are unpacking their bags in Mason, Ohio. Population 34,092. That's smaller than the student body at Ohio State, smaller than a lot of high schools in Texas. And yet, starting today, August 8th, this quiet suburb northeast of Cincinnati is hosting one of the most elite gatherings in professional tennis. We're talking 8 current or former world number ones, players from 38 different countries, the top names in the sport, all converging on a town most Americans couldn't find on a map. This is the Cincinnati Open, and it just kicked off its public events and player practices today. Qualifying rounds start August 11th. Main draw begins August 13th, and the singles champions will be crowned August 23. This isn't some low-stakes warm-up event. This is one of the last major tournaments before the U.S. Open, and the field reads like a greatest hits list of modern tennis. Jannik Sinner, the current men's world number one, who won this tournament in 2024. Aryna Sabalenka, women's world number one, also a 2024 champion here. Carlos Alcaraz and Iga Swiatek, the defending champions from 2025. Novak Djokovic, Daniil Medvedev, Naomi Osaka, Karolina Pliskova, 8 world number ones, past or present, all in one place, all in Mason, Ohio. And that's the angle here, the visual, the sheer absurdity of watching elite athletes from nearly 40 nations descend on a mid-size American suburb for 2 weeks of world-class competition. Because tennis, unlike most American sports, doesn't just visit small-town America for exhibitions or charity events. It shows up, sets up shop, and runs a full-scale professional tournament that matters. The Cincinnati Open has been around since 1899. That's 27 years. It's one of the oldest tennis tournaments in the United States, and it's managed to maintain its place in the sport's upper tier, despite being located in a place that on paper makes no sense as a tennis hub. This isn't New York. It's not Miami. It's not even Atlanta. It's Mason, Ohio, a suburb with good schools, some nice parks, and a shopping district you could walk through in 20 minutes. But the Lindner Family Tennis Center, located about 22 miles northeast of downtown Cincinnati, is a first-rate facility. It's hosted this tournament for years, and it's become a fixture on the professional calendar. Players know it. Fans know it. And every August, the tennis world knows exactly where to find the sport's biggest names before they head to Flushing Meadows for the U.S. Open. What makes this interesting from a cultural perspective is how it flips the script on the usual international sports narrative. When Americans talk about sports going global, we usually mean American sports expanding outward. The NFL playing games in London, the NBA setting up academies in Africa, Major League Baseball scouting talent in the Dominican Republic. It's always about exporting American sports culture to the rest of the world, but tennis works in reverse. Tennis is a global sport first, and America is just one stop on a worldwide circuit. The players aren't coming to Mason because they're trying to break into the American market. They're coming because this is where the tournament is and the tournament matters. The fact that it's in Ohio is almost incidental, and that creates a fascinating dynamic. You've got players from Europe, Asia, South America, Australia, all flying into Cincinnati, renting cars or taking shuttles to Mason, checking into local hotels and preparing to compete on American soil in a sport where they're the stars, not the visitors. For 2 weeks, Mason becomes a microcosm of the global tennis tour. Players practice at the Lindner Center, eat at local restaurants, and interact with fans who've traveled from all over the region to watch. It's not just the top-tier stars either. The field includes players from 38 countries, which means you've got a full spectrum of languages, coaching teams, national federations, and playing styles all crammed into one suburban Ohio facility. Walk through the player areas during practice sessions, and you'll hear Italian, Spanish, Russian, Japanese, Czech, Polish. You'll see flags on racket bags from countries that don't usually make headlines in American sports media. And the fans who show up, they're not all local. The Cincinnati Open draws tennis enthusiasts from across the Midwest and beyond. People who follow the sport closely, who know the rankings, who can tell you which players are dealing with injuries and which ones are peaking at the right time. This isn't a casual crowd. These are people who plan their vacations around the tennis calendar. What's also worth noting is the timing. The Cincinnati Open sits in a crucial window on the tennis schedule. It's one of the final major hard-court tournaments was before the U.S. Open, which means players are using it to fine-tune their game, test their conditioning, and build momentum heading into the year's final Grand Slam. Win here, and you've got confidence. Lose early, and you've got 2 weeks to figure out what went wrong before. New York, that makes every match matter. These aren't exhibition games. These aren't charity events. This is high-stakes professional tennis, and the level of play reflects that. You're watching world number ones go head-to-head with rising stars, veterans testing themselves against the next generation, players fighting for ranking points and prize money and the psychological edge that comes with beating a top opponent. And it's all happening in Mason, Ohio, a place where you can grab breakfast at a local diner, walk through a suburban park, and then watch Jannik Sinner or Arina Sabalenka compete at the highest level of their sport. That's not normal. That doesn't happen in most places. Most global sporting events are staged in major cities with massive infrastructure and international airports and hotel districts built specifically to handle this kind of influx. But Mason handles it, the Lindner Family Tennis Center handles it, and the Cincinnati Open keeps running year after year, proving that you don't need a metropolis to host world-class competition. You just need the right facility, the right tournament structure, and a fan base willing to show up. What this also highlights is how different tennis culture is from the dominant American sports model. In the NFL, NBA, or MLB, the league controls the schedule, the locations, the branding. Teams are tied to cities. Fans follow franchises. The whole system is built around geographic loyalty and media markets. Tennis doesn't work like that. Tennis is a tour. Players travel constantly, competing in different cities and countries every week. Their loyalty is to themselves, their coaches, their sponsors. Fans follow individual players, not teams. And tournaments like Cincinnati are nodes on a global circuit, not endpoints in themselves. That makes the Cincinnati Open part of a much larger story. It's a story about how global sports actually function when they're not filtered through the American franchise model. It's a story about athletes as independent professionals, not employees of a league. And it's a story about how small-town America can still play host to the world when the infrastructure and the tradition are in place. So over the next 2 weeks, keep an eye on Mason, Ohio. Keep an eye on the results coming out of the Lindner Family Tennis Center, because what you're watching isn't just a tennis tournament. It's a case study in how the world comes to America, competes at the highest level, and then moves on. No permanent franchises, no long-term commitments, just elite competition in an unexpected place, and then the tour keeps rolling. That's the angle. That's what makes this worth paying attention to. Not because tennis is suddenly becoming an American sport, but because it's a reminder that America is just one stop on a much bigger map. And sometimes that stop is a suburb in Ohio with a population under 35,000.